everybody. Welcome in. I brought the people joining us on Microsoft Teams in on the conversation now. A lot of people here in class right now, so that's nice. This is ME3005. I'll be your instructor for the course. My name's I've met a lot of you before, but maybe this is the first time I've actually seen you. So welcome and nice to see all of you. First things first, I'm simulcasting this lecture room online. So a couple comments for the people online. First, if you'd like to ask a question, please do so in the chat. It's kind of on the right-hand side. So if you have a question, I'll try to get to it when I can. And also, I'm recording the online lecture, so please do not stop the recording. You have the ability to do that. I forgot I got to put my headphones on. Hopefully you can hear me now. Okay, that's better. Sorry about that. A couple notes for you online. If you'd like to ask a question, please do so in the chat. And additionally, please do not stop the recording. So you have the ability to stop the recording. Please do not stop the recording. Okay? If you do, I'll have to restart it and it'll be broken up and it's not good. Okay? So I'm recording this live. There are people in front of me and there are people online. I'll try to answer questions I get from both peanut galleries. Okay? This is ME3005, Advanced Mechanics Materials. So what we're going to do today is just work our way through the syllabus and talk about the class. And with a little bit of time left at the end, maybe we'll start in on some of the combined loading notes, which are available on Blackboard if you'd like to take a look at those there. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull the syllabus up and we'll talk about what we're going to do in this class. So I'm going to share my screen with the people in the online world here. Okay, and away we go. I might blow this up for the people that are in the back of the classroom. Best I can. I think that's about the best I can do. Guys in the back, sorry there. All right, so what you guys see in the online world is exactly what I'm projecting on the screen behind me in front of the classroom, so everybody's seeing the same thing. So let's just go through it. So I'm your instructor for the course, Dr. Hart. If you're expecting a different Kevin Hart, I'm sorry to disappoint you. I'm equally funny though, I promise. Okay. My office is S229, but I've been told that I can't have student meetings in my office this quarter, sadly. It's just not appropriate distance. So I'm going to have all my office hours virtual through Microsoft Teams. And my office hours this quarter will be from 8 to 10 a.m. And I think I actually have to change that to 8 to 9:30, just so I have a little bit of time to get to my 10 a.m., which is this class, and set up, which takes me like 10 minutes. Okay. So my office hours will change to every single day, 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. And that will be virtual on Teams. I'll update the syllabus and create a new syllabus to show that. All right. For lecture, this class obviously has two components, a lecture component and a lab component. And you guys are in the lecture component right now, which takes place on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And the way I'm going to do lecture, if you haven't kind of figured it out, is this sort of simulcasted situation where each week you're eligible for one of the in-person lectures depending on your last name. So we have 3 blocks of people because we can only accommodate so many people in this room. I've got to separate you into these 3 blocks eligible for various days. So the block B right now is here in person, last name Johnston to Paulson. So welcome. And I hope to see the rest of you in person on Mondays and Fridays when your block is eligible. I'll always be sort of simulcasting online. So if for some reason you can't come to lecture, like maybe you get sick or you're just, not able to get out of bed because it's 6 inches of snow on the ground and you don't feel like coming, well, you can always just do the online lecture and that's perfectly fine. Okay. Also for safety concerns, if you want to do everything online, that's perfectly fine. You can take this class fully online if you like. You don't have to come in person. I just thought it'd be a nice option to see your beautiful faces. Okay. The lab component of this class will take place on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so the class is separated into 2 groups, Tuesday, Thursday. We had our first lab lecture yesterday, so some of you attended that virtually, hopefully, and got to hear me rail about how terrible people are at scientific literacy. Rawr. Okay. Those of you for Thursday, please attend. This will be virtual. The lab section will always be a little bit different. Sometimes we'll do a lab, sometimes we'll have a lecture, sometimes we'll take exams. It'll kind of vary from lecture to lecture. All right. There's 2 textbooks for this class. Those of you that had me in like an academic class in the past know that I make my own notes for the class and make them available to you by PowerPoint on Blackboard. And usually that is sufficient to get you through the class without having to buy the textbook. Okay. I would, however, recommend that you get the Shigley book, number 2 on the list. And that's mostly because that's going to be a required textbook for you for the design of machine elements class. So I think that's ME363. You'll be required to have that book anyways, and actually it's a pretty good reference and a pretty good resource going forward. So if you want to get a textbook, I would suggest getting that textbook. I took the professional engineering licensing exam about a year ago, and I brought 2 textbooks with me, the Mechanical Engineering Handbook and the Shigley's Handbook. So there you go. It's a useful book. Things you should have learned in 2004. I know last spring was a little bit crazy. So if you took 2004 in the spring, it might be tough to grasp a lot of the concepts in 3005. 3005 should be building on 2004. And if you maybe didn't have the best experience with 2004, you might struggle a little bit at the onset of this class. I'm going to try to go slowly with the assumption that maybe 2004 was a little bit difficult last spring. So to start this class, I'll work my way through really slowly so we all have a good foundation, and then we can build from there. Okay, so I understand last quarter was not the best, so I'll do my best to try to keep everyone on the same page and up to speed. Okay, so these are the prerequisites or things you should have learned in 2004. You can make your way through that and look at that, and if you're shaky on a few of those topics, hopefully don't worry too much. I'll try to provide good foundation for those things as we move forward. All right. The objectives of this course, we have a lot of things to do in this course. Not only are you going to advance your technical knowledge on mechanics and materials by moving what you learned in 2004, which is mostly 2-dimensional analysis, to a 3-dimensional space. So we're doing 3-dimensional analysis now, stress states in 3 dimensions. But we're also going to spend some time in this class learning how to do good technical writing by forcing you to do some lab components in this class. So we have 4 labs in this class throughout the quarter, so it's not like a weekly thing. We only have 4. But I'm going to be pretty in your face about writing well this quarter. Okay, so you have 4 lab reports. Those 4 lab reports better be clean. All right. So I'm going to do as much as I can to sort of help you on your way, including asking for a rough draft for the first lab, where I give you, some handwritten feedback on your first go at the report before I ask you to turn in your final first lab report. So there'll be a couple things like that where a low pressure situation where you hand in something with no grade and I just give you some additional feedback on your writing and how you might be able to improve before I actually require you to hand in like a final draft. Okay, so I'll do that at least once this quarter, maybe twice, time permitting. So I'm really just trying to get you guys to be better writers and better communicators through your technical writing, and that's going to be a big portion of this course as well. Right. The syllabus is here listed. You can see the topics for each particular week, including we're starting with combined loading, which is sort of a continuation of something you should have done in 2004. And then we'll move on to principal stresses. Again, something you should have learned in 2004, but maybe we need to, bulk up a little bit in 3005 here again. Then we'll get into some new stuff specific to 3005, static failure criteria, more advanced buckling topics. Maybe you talked about buckling, maybe you didn't. Just show of hands, who talked about buckling in 2004? In your 2004 class. Anyone talk about buckling in 2004? No buckling. Okay. Anyone online? I don't see anyone like making any comments about buckling. Yeah, very suspicious. Okay. You should have talked at least a little bit about buckling in 2004, but it is what it is. Okay, principal strains. That'll be very similar to principal stress. And then we'll have our first exam. So a lot of just what I think foundational topics for mechanics of materials, stress, strain, principal stresses, principal strains, kind of covered on the first exam. Then we'll get into some more advanced topics like strain energy and impact, torsion of non-circular members. So you probably talked about torsion of circular members in 2004. We're going to talk about torsion of non-circular cross-sections, like rectangular cross-sections, and you'll actually have a lab on that as well. Pressure vessels we'll talk about. Fatigue life methods will be what we round out in the back end of the course. And fatigue life methods are sort of a foundation for what you're going to go into a little bit more depth for ME363. So 363 is the design of machine elements, and it will be the next sort of step up in your mechanics curriculum. It'll be the last course in the mechanics sequence if you're looking at your flowchart. And so sort of fatigue leads you into 363, which will be coming shortly. All right, so that's the plan for the lecture periods. We also have a plan for the lab periods. Now, here we are laid out with each particular week and what we're going to do in the lab periods. Like I said, some of them lectures, some of them labs, etc. The first week is on scientific literacy and technical report writing. Some of you have had that lecture already. Those of you in the Thursday lab, you'll get it tomorrow. I know you're all excited. Yes. Okay. I'm going to make fun of people and how terrible they are writing, and it'll be funny, and I hope you laugh. Okay. Then week number 2, we're actually going to do our first lab. And because we can't really be in person to do the labs, which is a little bit unfortunate, we have pre-recorded the lab experiment during the summer, and we're going to distribute that to you. And it has all of the procedures, what we did. You get to see every step by step. We pop up the measurements on the screen, so it's easy for you to record. Like, it should be pretty straightforward. All right. So you'll write a lab report based on that lab, and then the next following lab period, you're going to have a one-on-one meeting by teams where I talk about your first rough draft of your paper. So this is where I'm going to give you that individual feedback in week number 3 of the lab. So that'll happen at least once. I have, I think, another set here in week 8 where we do something like that. But again, I'm going to really hammer home you're writing this quarter. All right. So you can see the remainder of what we got going on. We got a buckling lab, torsion of non-circular member lab, and curved beam and bending lab. And so these things will line up pretty well with the lecture. So you should have the theoretical background as well as the experiment to go with it. Here's the breakdown of the grades for this course. Your lab reports will be 20% of the grade. You'll have homework in this class weekly. You'll see the first one soon. It's 10%. You got 2 exams in class and then a final exam. I'm not sure if we're going to have a common final. Usually we do for 3005, but they're kind of moving away from it, and it's kind of a weird quarter, so I'm anticipating maybe there won't be a common final for this class, but I don't know for sure. Okay, so more info to come. All right, exams are going to be held during the lab periods, and they'll be virtual. So every single lab will just be held online, or every single exam will be held online. I'll distribute the exam to you on Blackboard right at the beginning of the lab period, and then you'll have the entire duration of the lab period with open everything to do the exam. All right, so open books, open notes, open whatever you want. Okay, I think that's perfectly fair. I can't really police you at home, so that's really my only option. It worked out pretty well last quarter with the classes that I had and that I did it that way, so I think that'll be okay. All right. Homework's randomly, it's going to be about a weekly homework sort of thing where we're just doing homework on the topic of the week. You'll hand it in by email to me, so figure out a way to take a picture of it, either with your phone or I think you got cameras on your laptops. Take a picture of it and send it to me by email. I'll respond by email with your grade and some comments. All right, so that's how the homework hand-in is going to work. And you'll be able to track your grades for everything on Blackboard as well. All right, homework assignment formatting, you can read that on your own. Lecture periods, okay, we've kind of talked about that already. I encourage you to come to the lectures, but if you're not up for it, I understand. All right, lab periods, again, like I said, meeting by teams, and you're going to be writing lab reports, 3-page limit on lab reports. Okay, so the lab reports should be short and sweet, high quality, low quantity. All right, quality over quantity. All right, cheating, don't cheat. I've written up people in the past more times than I'd like. So just you guys know what that entails. Don't do it. All right, and they asked me to incorporate this statement on COVID. Obviously, if you're coming to lecture, I ask that you wear a mask. I will always be wearing a mask when I'm on campus. Please do that. Try your best to maintain social distancing. If you're feeling sick, don't come to class. All these things that I think are pretty straightforward, but I just want to say for sure. Okay, so that's kind of it for the syllabus. Does anybody have any questions about the syllabus or kind of how the class is going to run? Either online world or in-person world. Ah, the inside times. I miss it. Yes, sir. Right, so the question is, are labs going to be distributed electronically or handed out in person? The labs will be distributed electronically, and you'll have like it'll have a procedure, which you will see mimicked in the video that I hand out. So you'll be able to follow the procedure on the lab handout exactly with what's on the video. So submitting the labs will also be done electronically by email. So you write your lab report. I've also provided a template for writing your lab report online and some additional information on, what goes in the abstract section, what goes in the method section, all those sorts of things. Those resources are available on Blackboard. Encourage you to look at that before you tackle your first lab report. Rawr. You will write well. Rawr. Okay. Other questions in the chat? How's my volume? Is it okay? How's the mask with the microphone? Am I muffled? Am I okay? Jorge says great. Alan says it's all good. I'm getting the thumbs up. Okay, good. I was worried about this simulcast. I didn't know how it was going to go, but it seems it's going well. All right, so with that said, then let's move on to the combined loading notes, and let's actually start material for the class. So the notes for combined loading are available on Blackboard. So if you'd like to follow along with the PowerPoint slides themselves, you can feel free to do that. And I will use the writing pad here to display information to both the class and to the people online. So you both should be able to see the same general things. So I'm going to bring this over. And here's the writing pad. Hopefully we can all see this in the classroom. Yes. And also the people online should be able to see the same thing. So we're going to start with the combined loading notes, and we'll do that using this tool. Okay, so I'm missing some things here. I'm going to have to change a little bit later, but oh, my pad is not working. Okay, I need to make an adjustment here. Just 1 second. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so the scaling still isn't correct. All right, I'm going to have to make some adjustments. Okay, technology issues, but it is what it is. We'll pick up on combined loading on Friday. I guess that's going to be it for today. Sorry, guys. Yeah. Yeah, you guys can go. You guys can go. I'm just working out the issues here, so it's so it'll be fine on Friday. I just need time to do it, and usually this classroom is got other people, so I don't have time to like work in here. All right, apologies for that. So we'll pick it up on Friday.